Hello everybody, it's Larry and welcome to today's video. And I get a request a lot about, Larry, what videos should I watch and what order should I watch them? And I'm getting this more and more as more and more people come to the channel. So what this video is, it's a list of the top 10 videos that you should watch in this channel in the order that I recommend you watch them to get the most value out of them. So we'll just get right to it. The first one that you should watch is the Centimorgans video. And all of these will be linked down in the description so you have easy access to it. But you can notice here, this is an older video from March of 2019. And what it does, it explains, as you can see in this picture with the ruler, in a regular ruler, as you pull it out, the numbers get bigger as you measure 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, etc. Well, in Centimorgans, as you know, that every time you pull it out a notch, it divides by 2 because you're going up a generation and you have twice as many people contributing the DNA to you. Well, this video is kind of like the best primer for understanding what a centimorgan is, which is a measure of distance, and how to, kind of understand it, because that is the foundation of being able to use your DNA match list on any service. And so you really need to watch that video as number one, the Centimorgans video. So the next one that I'm going to recommend is the clustering video. Now again, like the Centimorgan video, this video is from a year ago. You can see May 16th of 2019, and it actually says DNA matches beta. Well, it's no longer in beta. Soon after this occurred and the video came out, Ancestry made this their standard product. So this video says beta. Ignore the part about turning beta on and off. You don't have to do that anymore. And this might be a little bit confusing, but if you just remove the beta portion, the rest of it's essentially the same. But the clustering of your DNA matches in this video, it talks about it in depth. This is definitely the best one for it. And as you can see, when I first made the preview of this video, a day or so ago, it was at 62,000 views, just like 2 views under. And it got 500 views in the last couple of days. This is still the most watched video because it does the most. I mean, if you really can't do anything with Ancestry DNA without doing the clustering like it is in this video. So after you understand the Centimorgans, this is the next video to watch. All right, number 3, putting your tree together piece by piece. And it talks about how to make dirty trees. And thank goodness my relatives put dirty trees. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you, don't put dirty trees out there. It messes things up. Well, no, it doesn't. Now, what we need to do is use better my tree tags and things like that, showing that we verified certain lines. But if it had not been for 4 dirty trees, and I mean absolutely dirty. I've been doing genealogy 30 years, and these were perhaps some of the absolute worst trees. 33, 34 people in a tree. And I think 4 people actually were right and connected correctly in that one tree. But if it had not been for the clues in those trees, I never would have found my father. So when you discourage somebody from putting a dirty tree out there, you're keeping somebody from getting that clue that's going to help them find their relatives. So I would ask you not to do that. I've had that discussion many, many times. Genealogy's changed, folks, and I'm telling you, people dealing with a soul punch, they don't need to be hearing about how we need to make these trees pristine. What they need to be doing is getting your help and my help on how to find their mother or their father. So putting together your tree piece by piece, that's the next video that you're going to want to watch. After that, sourcing your family tree, and what we talk about here is using some basic things like find a grave and censuses, different records, in order to see if the tree that you put together is actually right. I mean, it's not of value, unless you have a pretty good inclination that it is the right tree. So while we still are working with dirty trees and we're shortcutting the verification process to nail it and say this is our permanent tree, you still have to do a bare minimum of sourcing, because otherwise you're just picking some random tree and you don't know what it is. So you do have to do a minimal amount of sourcing here. Again, by minimal, I'm talking about people finding DNA surprises. Now, if you're doing long-term genealogy, of course, you source it to the nth. But if you're trying to find, the answer to a DNA surprise, get that tree together and then get some basic sourcing and move on to the next one. And then next one is triangulating your DNA matches. All right. This is the fifth one. And what this does is it tells you how to take those centimorgans that you got and kind of lay them on your tree in order to figure out how people are matching your tree. And that's really one of the confusing parts. And this one is one of the videos that does that. All right. Now, the same thing we just said, that triangulation where it's kind of confusing. We have a more recent video that was from September of this year and talk about the centimorgans again. Because as I said, centimorgans are the keystone. You have to understand the centimorgans in order to make things work. So the ball and pattern, we look at centimorgans in a brand new way. If you haven't done the other videos and you don't understand those, this is probably going to be confusing if you're just coming in. But if you watched all my videos, this one would be far less confusing. All right. Then the next one after that is the kinships plus one. Now, I feel kind of bad for this because I said kinships plus one, and I said, hey, that's the way we should change it. I want to say it should be dual kinships and dual kinships, because when you start finding, like if you have two parents in common with a sibling, that's a dual kinship. You have a kinship through your father, a kinship through your mother. A sibling would have one, and a dual would have two. And what you're going to find is, especially like in cases of endogamy, or a pair of brothers married a pair of sisters, or sometimes you just have somebody that's related to both sides of the tree, and they're related to you, and they're close to you. Well, they may be sharing more DNA with some of those kinships further up. So you've got dual, triple, quad, stuff like that. We talk about the dual and how to use that in the simplest terms because I'm trying to get you to understand, there's one direct path to that person, but then if two people at that MRCA node, which is most recent common ancestor, then you would actually have another path to that person. Okay, that's why I called it plus one. If I had to do over again, I'd call it dual, because dual goes with triple, quadruple, quintuple, connections to somebody. And as you go on, that does happen more often than you'd think. All right. After that, the new clustering, the updated 2020 version of clustering. This is a must-watch video, just like the others. And one of the reasons for that is when we did this, I actually show how I recognized I had a DNA surprise. I went through the steps of, hey, there's some people in my tree I don't understand. Mother took a DNA test. My uncle took one. Oops, I'm not related to my uncle. I'm not related to my father. Oh goodness, soul punch. And then I said, okay, so I went through these steps and I took it really fast, but if you've watched the other videos and you've watched this one, then it all fits together pretty easily. All right. So the next one, and this again, is one that you should use. And when you're doing research, one of the biggest mistakes that people are doing when they're actually sourcing the tree, and again, I'm saying if you've clustered and used the centimorgans, you've probably found people, but now you're trying to shore up and prove those people. Are they the right connections? And one of the hardest things to do is find and make sure they're in the right census. And if you don't have the right census, you're not going to find them. Okay? So this video talks about making sure you have the correct census. And the other one, the last one, is a recent one, and that is what are the odds? And the what are the odds tool, what it does is it lets you take the DNA matches that you have from all of the different companies. Ancestry, MyHeritage, 23andMe, FTDNA, whomever you've taken your test with, you can use those centimorgans. Now, they do vary. Not every company measures the same. But remember, these are all estimates. When you're doing the centimorgans, the ball and patterns, those are all estimates. They're like guides to say, hey, this is where you should probably look. Okay, so that's not it. Okay, well, look here so that you're not just looking all over everywhere and not getting overwhelmed. That way we can kind of keep focused into where we need to be in order to find the answer. Well, the what are the odds tool does a real good job because you can take that list. You can download, your DNA matches from all the companies but Ancestry pretty much. And you'll have to enter those manually and put it into what are the odds. And with that, you're going to be able to start saying, okay, what are the kinships? And put yourself in there if you're looking for you. Or for those that are doing standard genealogy, you can put it on your hypothesis out further in your tree and say, okay, well, if this person is really going to be related here, and that surname is going to be what I expect, then I should match at this, and it'll give you great feedback for that. So there you have it. Start off with, again, the centimorgans at the very beginning. That's the one. That's the groundwork to do everything. Then after that, go to the clustering. Best video out there for figuring out your ancestry DNA matches, bar none. Putting together your tree piece by piece, sourcing it, and then getting basic triangulation. Put the patterns over it, and then understand the kinships, and then watch the new clustering video. Then make sure you're looking at the right censuses to find your information. And then lastly, the Watto tool, what are the odds tool, in order to make sure that you have the people in the tree. Just make the tree like you think it is, and then put it in what are the odds, and that'll really help you determine if you're on the right track. Well, there you have it. That's the top 10 videos from this channel. I strongly recommend watching them in order. The other one, like I said, I would put what are the odds before maybe the last one, but I put it afterwards because if you don't have it sourced, then you really don't have that ability to, you shouldn't be really checking the odds yet. When you get to what are the odds, you really need to know that the tree, it's no longer a dirty tree. It's not proven to the nth, but you know that the tree is right. At this point, you're trying to determine, certain connectivities on certain branches. So anyway, that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, or who knows, you may not win the lottery this week. You never know. So make sure you subscribe. Why take the chance? Anyway, click the bell notification to make sure you're notified when the next one comes out. And pass it around to some friends. And oh yeah, that QR code up at the top. If you enjoyed the video or you'd like to help support the channel ongoing, you can go to the QR code. There's a link down in the description as well. And you can either subscribe or donate as you see fit. Thank you all. I appreciate it. And we will talk to you all again very soon.